Taco the Philosopher, here to talk about my book that's coming out very soon. It's called Taco the Philosopher Volume 1. And I'm going to do many, many more volumes. I'm going to keep going until I can't go no more. And to entice you, people out there who like to read and are very deep thinkers like me, well, maybe not quite as deep thinkers as me, but I'm here to tell you about some of the features in my book, and I'm going to excerpt probably my favorite section of the book, my favorite observation, which is probably something that you haven't thought about in life. You know, you're probably not as deep a thinker as I am, so my favorite section deals with this. It's called "What You Gonna Be Doing" is the name of the chapter. And what it's about is sometimes in life you start to do something, doesn't matter what it is, you know, something that you want to do, and you start doing it, and then, you know, sometimes you're doing it for a little while, and something else comes up, and you got to put down what you're doing and go doing the other thing. And the other thing usually is, you know, when it's something that comes up like that, it's probably not really something you want to do, but it's something you got to do. So, you know, you stop what you're doing, which is the thing that you wanted to do, to go do the thing that you have to do. And, you know, I mean, your intention at first is probably, you know, you're going to get back to the first thing, the thing that you wanted to do. But then, you know, one thing leads to another, you run out of time, and sometimes you just forget to go back to the thing you started with, you know? So there's many ways that could go, you know, so sometimes you don't get back. Most of the time you probably don't get back to the thing that you started doing. And then you know, because you got busy doing the thing that you had to do, and maybe time ran out. And who knows, sometimes something weird happens. Sometimes, you know, sometimes that thing that you gotta do, you don't mind, you find out after a while, after you're doing it for a little while, that you don't mind doing it. You know, maybe that's not as bad as you thought it would be when it came up, and when you said, oh, I gotta go do this now, I gotta deal with this, you know, wow, bummer, man. But, you know, but then you start doing it, and maybe it's not so bad, though. That's not the case most of the time, I find. Most of the time I find that thing that you're doing, that you gotta do, is just one of those things you gotta do. And, you know, it's not as good as that first thing that you were doing. And your intent is to get back to that first thing that you were doing, because that's something that you wanted to do, but then you didn't get back to it. You know, sometimes, not a lot of the times, I think you'll find you get back to that original thing that you started doing until sometime later. And I mean, maybe a long time later, you finally get back to it and say, man, you know, I started doing this at some point and something come up, you know, and it ruined it because I didn't get to do the first thing that I wanted to do. And so you get back to it later, maybe, and you start doing that again, and then, you know, something else comes up, something, you know, same thing again, man. You start doing the thing that you want to do, something else comes up, and man, I got to deal with this, or I got to go here and do that, or, you know, I got to go here and do this, whatever, you know, whatever your work is, whatever, you know. Then it's a bummer, you know, and just, yeah, sometimes you just don't get to that. You find that you don't get to that first thing that you started doing. And then maybe, you know, down the road you find you got some free time and say, you know what I'm going to do now? I'm going to do what I want to do. So, you know, you go and you start doing something else that you want to do maybe. Now you completely forgot about the first thing that you wanted to do, you know, that you started doing, that you got interrupted. You know, so a lot of times you just never get back to that first thing that you wanted to do. And now, you know, but now you're doing something else that you want to do, and you start doing that. And chances are something's going to come up and it's going to ruin that, man. And you know, you're not going to get to do that you know, finish that thing, whatever it is that you wanted to do. Because once again, life is never short of these things that you got to do, it seems. You know, things keep coming up, you know, appointments, I got to be here, I got to do that, you know. But, you know, you got to try to keep in mind that thing that you want to do. And then sometimes, you know, you know, you don't get back to that thing that you wanted to do, and time passes by, and maybe like your taste change, you realize, you know, that thing that I wanted to do, I don't really want to do it no more. You know, like it's not something that you find as being an enjoyable thing, or the thing you want to do. And maybe now the thing that you find enjoyable that you want to do is now something else
that you want to go try to do. But then again, you're faced with the same problem is, okay, now I don't want to really go back and do that thing that I used to want to do, but now I got plenty of other things that I want to do, and I want to go do them. So if you get lucky enough to get some time and you start doing that new thing that you want to do, and you'll find that this is what I want to do now. But of course the problem is, once again, the things that you gotta do end up rearing their ugly head, and now you gotta go do them, and it stops you from really doing what you want to do. And how many times in life does that come up? I've got these things that I want to do no matter what they are, and I try to find time, I try to allot time or start doing them, and then something comes up. And then sometimes, maybe if you're real lucky, nothing comes up and you get to do that thing that you wanted to do. And who knows, maybe you find out you don't even like doing that thing that much, as it turns out. But you didn't know that because you never got a chance to do it, So, when it comes to doing things that you want to do, getting the time and starting to do them and having them lead to other things that maybe you want to do, and then combined with all those things that you gotta do, and that tend to get in the way, sometimes you just never know what it is you actually want to do. Sometimes you think there's things that you want to do, and then when you start doing them, you find out, this is as enjoyable as I thought it was, man. This isn't like what I think I want to do. And you go and you try maybe new things that you want to do, but of course they're always going to be, you're always going to have that thing of the thing that keeps coming up is, here's the thing I got to do again. Now I got to stop doing what I'm doing to go do what I got to do. And then once again, you're putting that thing aside, and sometimes you just never get around to trying new things. That's why you don't get around to trying new things, a lot of the times, because those things that you got to do, they just keep coming up, Thank you, Taco the Philosopher.
It's Taco the Philosopher. It's Taco. 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 It's Taco the Philosopher.